Boker Tov, we are in Kohelet Perek Aleph, Pasuk Tetvav. Famous Pasuk, I think. Me'uvat lo yuchal litkon, v'chesron lo yuchal limanot. So Shlomo HaMelech was talking about that under the sun in this world, he spoke about before, there's certain things that are just empty. People are doing emptiness, and sometimes people do me'uvat lo yuchal litkon, bending things that you can't fix. And the general explanation, something that's straight, and you bend it to a point that you can't fix it. People do things that they can't fix. We'll give an example. And missing something that you can't be counted with. So, Rashi says, number one, is that, first of all, after a person passes away, you can't fix anymore. You can't do any more mitzvot. You already passed away. So, as he says, Mishatarach be'erev Shabbat, yochal b'Shabbat, one that prepares on Friday, Erev Shabbat, eats on Shabbat. If you don't prepare on Erev Shabbat, Baruch Hashem, here Magen David, we already prepared from Wednesday, the Orisa. But if you prepare from Erev Shabbat, then you eat on Shabbat. So like this, he quotes the Gemara in Masechet Chagiga. There are certain sins, God forbid, that a person could do that you can't fix. Maybe one of the most extreme is if a person has a child from God forbid, a married woman, and he has a mamzer. That's it. The kid's born, the kid's a mamzer, can't fix it. He's a mamzer. He's Jewish, but he's a mamzer. Mamzer can only marry another mamzer woman, or he can marry a convert, but it's very, very, very complicated, very tough situation. Now, a person could do a sin, he could have a child that's non-Jewish. But that could be fixed if there's a proper conversion, etc. It's a tough fix, but it could be fixed. Certain things are tougher fixes. Certain things can't fix. Certain things you can't fix. So says the Gemara Masechet Chagiga, and he puts these two together. Gemara puts having a mamzer and missing Shema. Missing Shema one morning. So what do you mean? I'll do Shema tomorrow morning. So the basic understanding is that when you're missing Shema that morning, you're never going to get that Shema ever again. That morning Shema. So let's say Tefillin. So Thursday, May 14th, 2026, if a person didn't put on Tefillin that day, they're never going to get that Tefillin back, ever. They can put it on Friday, on Sunday, on Monday, the next week, etc. But for Thursday, May 14th, 2026, if they didn't put tefillin on that day, they can never, ever make that back. That is certainly like something that you're missing that you can never, ever make back. You could fix yourself for future, which is great, but that days you can never get back. But to put that together with having a mamzer is pretty severe. So the Sefer here that we're learning from a little bit, Kohelet Yirmiyah, explains that we know that the reward for a mitzvah, we don't know the reward for the mitzvot. And our Chachamim tell us that to try to do every mitzvah, small or big, because we don't know the reward of the mitzvot. And when you're boiling it down, at the end of the day, it's a commandment from Hashem. A mitzvah means a commandment from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So each thing is a commandment. Saying Shema in the morning, putting on tefillin that day, God forbid, not going with a married woman, it's a command from Hashem. Of course, not going with a married woman is death penalty. Going with a married woman is a death penalty. And there's different penalties that we see in the Torah. So you could see there's some difference. But at the end of the day, what's equal is that you violated Hashem's commandment. So violating Hashem's commandment in a way where you can't make it back, or that mistake is forever going to be a mistake, that's why there's a comparison between the two. Now, on the positive sense, the Gemara makes a statement. There's no comparison. A person that learns something 100 times to someone that learns something 101 times. There's no comparison. Someone that learns 101 times, it's so much greater. So you say to yourself, really? He learned the same thing 100 times. So learned the same thing 101 times. Is it so much greater? The Gemara makes a big deal out of it. And here as well, on the positive, is that when you recognize that each time of learning Torah, Each mitzvah is so great in and of itself, even if you did it 100 times, to the level 101, that's still a massive, great gain that you've done. And therefore, even in the Averot sense, it's a small Averot, okay, I didn't put on tefillin today, I'll put it on tomorrow again. No, recognize you're missing something very, very, very big. And therefore, the Chachamim here in the Gemara that compare it to going with a married woman, with the worst of things, is trying to let us know not to look at the small sins like they're very small. Rather, the small sin is still a violation in Hashem's commandment, and it's something that can also be something that you can never make back. And therefore, to put emphasis in every mitzvah and every avera, and Bezrat Hashem, when we live that way, recognizing that even something small is really, really something very, very big, then we'll gather all the big mitzvot, stay away from even small averot, and we'll gain so much in that way. Amen. והקשה מרצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך יברא להם את הנושא שנאמר, כל חפץ זמן צדקו, ידיר תורה וידיר